For today's quiz, we're going to be talking about data collection. We're going to end up calling it the good, the bad, and the ugly. When I was a young lad, Clint Eastwood had a movie out called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. A lot of these movies, they'd have a good guy. Self-explanatory. They do everything right. The bad guy, well, he's not as good. And then they'd have the ugly. And this is usually some stooge with sinister intent that was going to double-cross someone or something like that. So that's what we're thinking about with data collection. So let's say that we go to an amusement park with our students and we ask them, take your stopwatch and maybe there's a Ferris wheel or some other ride and we want to know what the period or frequency is of that ride so we can do some kind of calculations, whatever it might happen to be. And your students are having a great time. So group 1, they end up collecting data. Group 2 ends up collecting data. And group 3 ends up collecting data. What we'd like you to do is figure out the good, the bad, and the ugly of these data collected. So let me hold up the quiz closer so you can see it. And as always, please mark why you think that you're choosing whatever answer that you're choosing and list your confidence on that. Students will usually ask for some clarification about this. They'll say, wait, do you want us to tell you that one of the groups is bad and one of the groups is ugly and, one of the groups is better or good? Yeah, that's kind of what I'd like you to do. Or you can say they're all good or they're all bad, they're all ugly, whatever it is. Let me give you a little bit more information about this. So normally I don't ask for the averages. Students just typically, without contemplation, they just take the averages. Whenever they take a data set, it's kind of the thing that you do in school. Why? No one really knows, but everyone just takes the average. So I would normally ask them to take 5 pieces of data, and then they're going to almost always average it out. I don't ask them to do this. Most teachers won't need to either. Students just do it. So that's what we're asking. So when students think about this, this is typically what they say. They'll say, well, this one is a little bit ugly. I just don't like how it looks. This one is really good. And this one, might be kind of ugly, something like that. Others will say, no. This one's good. This one is bad. And this one is ugly. And you might say, why are you thinking that's ugly? And they're like, well, there's something suspicious about that. And others will say, no, look, the averages all give exactly the same value. And just to let you know, there's no trickery here. I actually made the averages, and they're each 5.00. So that student might say, look, doesn't matter what it was. They all get the same thing. They're all good because you're getting the same thing. So those are typical student responses that we get. All right, let's go ahead and explain the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, right away, we might have a little bit of protest. Some might say, look, data is just data, and whatever you get, and they're all equal. That's our truth. The answer to that is no, that's not true, okay? Anyone who's collected data can instantly see right away what the good, the bad, and the ugly is here. So let's just say that we have 3 groups. Let's say we have a group that's concentrating rather intently. And by the way, they're in an amusement park. It's going to be hard for them to do that. They're supposed to be having fun there, but for whatever reason, they're collecting data. Okay, let's just go through this. Let me reset this. And I'm part of the group that's really intent on trying to do a good job. So the teacher already kind of hinted that it would be about 5 seconds for the period or whatever. So we're all coming up with some system. We'll say every time that rider comes around right here, we'll click on it. So we'll try this. So I'll start and I'll say go. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5. And I get 4.84. And I'm concentrating. I'm doing my very best. And I would start to put my values up here. 4.95. Pretty good if we're thinking it's 5, 5.11, 4.99, 5.04, 4.91. Now again, students just take the average and they do this and it turns out to be 5.0. They've really done their work, and maybe they'll even do this again or something like that. But regardless, this is what they get. This is what you would expect. I would say this is probably good data. As opposed to another group that might end up, they're, horsing around a little, maybe poking each other. Hey, quit doing it, quit doing it. Oh, see, I missed it. But then they'll click it anyhow. Okay? So, but now the other one's coming around earlier because I was late on that one and I click it again. So maybe they have an 11.25 and a 2.45. And they're still like yelling at each other and they're doing a bad job of this. And the data shows that. Now, they saw that group over there and they're like, well, let's go see what they got. They take an average and they take an average and like, look, they got 5.00 and we got 5.00. Our data is just as good as their data. And that is the problem with averages. Averages are hiding how badly this group did. All right? This group was intent. We have great confidence in what they're doing. This group probably got lucky to get that 5.00. But that's the problem. Don't take averages unless you have a reason to take averages. Averages can tell you something, but they also can hide what's going on here. I think we can say the system that they were using on the good group, thumbs up. On the bad group, stop messing around, try to concentrate and so on. So we got our good and we got our bad. But then we have our ugly. See, this group, they didn't even try to collect data. All right, this happens in school a lot, especially if the teacher says, you're being graded on how closely you are to the value that I wanted. They heard it needed to be 5.00, but they're in an amusement park. They're trying to let's go on that ride. We're not going to have time to time this if we go on that ride. Oh, well, they're kids. That's probably what they're going to do. I get it. So they're like, we got to turn something in. And we heard the other two groups got a 5.00. So they're going to make the ultimate sin in science. They're probably going to, fudge it. They're going to be fraudulent about it. They're going to say, we know we want it to be 5.00 like the other groups got. And we want to impress the teacher. In their mind, this is going to impress the teacher. That they're going to say, well, look, we did such a good job. We got 5.00. And then we need to show the teacher that we were, not always perfect. So we'll put 4.00 and then 6.00, 5.00, and 5.00. And notice they all end up with the same average. But this one's ugly because they probably didn't even do it. They're fudging it. And how can you tell? Well, look, I got 4.88 there. Let me do this again. And I'll just reset. And I'll do 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5. And I get 5.01 on that one. What are the odds that I'm always going to end up perfectly at 0.00? If you've never collected data, it might seem probable. It's not. It's possible, but it's improbable. So we would end up saying, this is good data, this is bad data, and this is ugly. The big picture here is averages, get rid of that. So if you just look at averages, you can't tell if your data was good or your system was good, bad, or ugly. So before you take averages, think about why you're doing it and should you show the rest of your data. That's our quiz for today.